The crystal chandeliers of the Sterling house cast warm, golden light across white tablecloths and polished silver, creating an atmosphere of refined elegance that felt almost sacred. Rachel Torres moved through the dining room with practiced grace, balancing a tray of wine glasses, her smile professional despite the hollow ache in her chest that had become her constant companion. Christmas Eve. The restaurant was packed with families celebrating, couples toasting their love, children's laughter echoing off the high ceilings. Rachel served them all with efficiency and warmth, even as every happy scene felt like a knife twisting deeper into her heart. Her daughter Lily should have been home right now, wrapped in her favorite pajamas, hanging her stocking by their small apartment's fireplace. They should have been reading The Night Before Christmas for the 100th time, eating cookies, counting down the hours until morning. Instead, Lily was with Michael, and Rachel was here, serving other people's happiness while her own crumbled to dust. Her phone vibrated in her apron pocket for the third time in 10 minutes. Rachel set down her tray at the service station, her hands trembling as she pulled out the phone. 12 missed calls from Michael. Her stomach dropped. She slipped into the narrow hallway leading to the kitchen, pressing the phone to her ear with shaking fingers. The sounds of the busy restaurant faded to white noise as Michael's voice came through, sharp and cold. "About time you answered." "Michael, what's wrong? Is Lily okay?" Rachel's heart hammered against her ribs. "Lily is fine. I'm calling to inform you that tomorrow's visit is cancelled." The words hit like a physical blow. "What?" "No, Michael, you promised. The custody agreement says I get her Christmas Day." "We agreed." "I've changed my mind." His tone was casual, almost bored, like he was discussing the weather rather than destroying her world. "Lily and I are flying to Aspen tonight. My parents rented a house for the week. You can't do that. You're violating our custody order." Rachel's voice rose, desperation making it crack. "Please, Michael. It's Christmas. Just let me see her for a few hours. I'm begging you." His laugh was sharp, cutting. "You should have thought about that before you walked out, Rachel. You abandoned our family. Why should I reward that behavior? I didn't abandon anyone." Tears streamed down Rachel's face, her free hand pressed against the cold wall for support. "You know why I left. You know what you did. What I did was provide a comfortable life for you and our daughter while you worked a dead-end job and complained about everything I did. You were ungrateful then, and you're ungrateful now." Through the phone, Rachel could hear Lily crying in the background. That particular sob that meant her daughter had been crying for a while, the kind that left her hiccuping and exhausted. "Daddy, I want to talk to Mommy." Lily's small voice cut through Rachel like a blade. "Please, I want my mommy." "Michael, please." Rachel's knees buckled and she slid down the wall, her black slacks catching on the rough surface. "Just let me talk to her. Just for a minute. You hear that?" Michael's voice dripped with false sympathy. "She's been asking for you all day. I told her you were too busy working at your little restaurant to come see her. That you chose serving strangers over being her mother. That's not true." Rachel choked on a sob. "You canceled my custody time. You moved 2 hours away without telling me. You've violated our agreement 17 times in the past 6 months. Careful, Rachel. You're getting hysterical. You know how the court feels about unstable mothers." Michael's voice shifted to that familiar manipulative tone that used to make her question her own sanity. "I'm giving you a choice. Come back home. Move into the guest house, follow my rules, live the way I say, and you can see Lily every day. Otherwise, my attorney is filing paperwork after New Year to terminate your parental rights completely." The hallway spun. Rachel pressed her forehead against her knees. "You can't do that. I'm her mother. I'm a senior partner at Chen, Morrison and Associates. You're a waitress with barely a high school diploma and a one-bedroom apartment in a questionable neighborhood. I have 3 judges on speed dial who golf with my firm's partners. His voice turned hard. Be realistic about who has power here. This isn't about power. This is about our daughter. You have until New Year to decide. Move back under my terms, or lose Lily forever. He paused, letting the threat sink in. Oh, and Rachel? Don't try calling again tonight. We're boarding the plane now, and I've already told Lily you're too busy to talk. Merry Christmas. The line went dead. Rachel pressed her hand over her mouth, trying to muffle the sob that tore from her throat. 6 months. 6 months of Michael playing these games, using legal delays and technicalities to slowly erase her from Lily's life. She had been a good mother, she had sacrificed everything for Lily. But Michael had money, connections, and a ruthless determination to punish her for leaving. The hallway door opened with a sharp sound. Her manager's voice cut through her grief like a whip. Torres. Table 8 needs their dessert order. I don't pay you to make personal calls during the dinner rush. Rachel wiped her face roughly with her sleeve, smearing her carefully applied makeup. I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. I'll be right there. She pulled herself up using the wall for support, smoothed her hair with trembling hands, and forced her face into the professional mask she had perfected over the past year. The customers didn't want to see their waitress falling apart. They wanted efficient service, a pleasant smile, and invisibility. Table 8 was occupied by a single diner, unusual for Christmas Eve at the Sterling House. Most of their clientele came in groups, families celebrating, couples sharing romantic meals. But this man sat alone, a tablet propped beside his untouched crème brûlée, his expression distant and troubled. Rachel approached with her order pad, her voice steady through sheer force of will. Good evening, sir. Can I get you anything else? Nathan Cross looked up from his tablet, and their eyes met. His were deep blue, the kind that seemed to see more than they should. He was handsome in that polished way of successful men, probably early 40s, with dark hair just beginning to silver at the temples and an expensive watch that probably cost more than Rachel made in 6 months. Are you all right? The question was direct, gentle, unexpected. Rachel's professional mask flickered. I'm fine, thank you. Is there anything else I can bring you this evening? I heard you in the hallway. Nathan's voice was quiet but firm. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, my table backs up to that wall. But I heard enough to know you're not fine. Humiliation burned through her chest, hot and shameful. I apologize if I disturbed your meal, sir. That was completely unprofessional. I don't care about professionalism. Nathan set down his coffee cup. I care that you're clearly in pain. The man on the phone, your ex-husband, he's keeping your daughter from you. Rachel's carefully constructed composure cracked. Fresh tears welled up and she blinked them back furiously. I really can't discuss this. I could lose my job. What if I told you I could help? She let out a bitter laugh that held no humor. No offense, sir, but I've learned that when wealthy men offer to help women like me, there's always a price. Something flickered across Nathan's face, understanding mixed with old pain. 8 years ago, my ex-wife took my son to London without telling me. Claimed I was an unfit father because I worked too much. She had family money, expensive lawyers, connections in the UK court system. I fought for 2 years to get even partial custody of my own child. Rachel stood frozen, her order pad forgotten in her hand. They painted me as a workaholic who cared more about my tech company than my son. Said a 4-year-old needed his mother, that I couldn't provide the stability he needed. Nathan's jaw tightened. I almost lost him completely. Almost lost Jeremy because I didn't have the right resources to fight back properly until I hired the attorney who finally turned things around. What happened? Rachel whispered. I won. Eventually. But it took 2 years, a fortune in legal fees, and nearly destroyed me. He pulled a business card from his wallet and wrote something on the back. This is my personal number. Below it is the name of the best family law attorney in Chicago. Victoria Hayes. She doesn't lose custody cases. Rachel's hands trembled as she took the card. I can't afford. I'll cover all legal fees. Every penny. No strings attached, no repayment expected, no obligations beyond you fighting like hell for your daughter. You don't even know me. Rachel's voice cracked. How do you know I'm telling the truth? How do you know I'm not the bad parent? Nathan stood, placing cash on the table that included a tip worth more than Rachel's entire night's wages. Because I heard the way you spoke to him. The way you begged just to talk to your daughter for 1 minute on Christmas Eve. Bad parents don't beg. They demand. They threaten. They manipulate. He put on his coat, expensive wool that probably cost more than Rachel's monthly rent. Good parents fight even when the system is rigged against them. Even when they're exhausted and broken and the world tells them they can't win. They fight because love doesn't calculate odds. Rachel couldn't speak. Her throat was too tight, her heart hammering too hard against her ribs. Call Victoria tomorrow. Tell her Nathan Cross sent you. She'll know exactly what to do. Nathan paused at the table's edge, his blue eyes holding hers with unexpected intensity. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry you're spending Christmas Eve like this. No parent should be separated from their child on Christmas. That's a special kind of cruelty. He walked away, leaving Rachel standing beside the empty table, clutching a business card that felt like both a lifeline and an impossibility. The restaurant continued its festive chaos around her, glasses clinking, laughter echoing, couples sharing desserts and dreams of the future. Rachel looked at the card. Nathan Cross, CEO Cross Technologies. The name was familiar. She had seen it in business sections of newspapers, on buildings downtown, in tech news that scrolled across the restaurant's waiting area television. This man was offering her hope. Real, tangible hope backed by resources she could never access on her own. But Rachel had learned the hard way that hope was dangerous. It made you vulnerable. It set you up for devastating falls when reality came crashing back. Her phone buzzed again. A notification from Michael's mother's Facebook page, posted publicly to humiliate her, a photo of Lily in a red velvet dress, boarding a private plane with Michael and his parents. Her little face was puffy from crying, her eyes red-rimmed and lost. The caption read, "Our beautiful granddaughter Lily on her way to Aspen. So grateful she has a stable, loving family to celebrate the holidays with. Some people make better choices than others. #blessed #family first." Something hardened in Rachel's chest, crystallizing into determination. Hope might be dangerous, but giving up was impossible. She tucked the card into her bra, the safest place she could think of, and returned to work. The night stretched ahead with 4 more hours of serving, smiling, pretending her world wasn't crumbling. But tomorrow she would make the phone call that might change everything. Tomorrow she would start fighting back with weapons Michael never expected her to have. Tomorrow she would show him that mothers don't calculate odds when their children are at stake. They just fight. The law offices of Hayes and Associates occupied the entire 28th floor of the Michigan Avenue Tower, all floor-to-ceiling windows and modern art that probably cost more than Rachel had earned in her entire life. She sat in the reception area on the day after Christmas, wearing her only professional outfit, a navy dress she had found at a thrift store and altered herself, her hands twisting a tissue into shreds. The receptionist had looked at her with barely concealed skepticism when she arrived, clearly doubting that someone dressed like Rachel belonged in such an expensive office. But when Rachel mentioned Nathan Cross's name, the woman's demeanor had shifted immediately to respectful efficiency. Victoria Hayes emerged from her office exactly on time. She was younger than Rachel expected, maybe 38, with sharp gray eyes, dark skin, and natural hair styled in an elegant twist. Her handshake was firm, assessing, the grip of someone who never lost. "Ms. Torres, please come in. Nathan spoke very highly of you." The office overlooked Lake Michigan, winter gray and churning with whitecaps. Victoria gestured to a leather chair across from her desk and opened her laptop with practiced efficiency. "I need you to tell me everything. Start from when you met Michael Chen and don't leave anything out, no matter how small or embarrassing it might seem." For 2 hours, Rachel talked. She described meeting Michael at a law firm's charity gala where she had been serving cocktails 7 years ago. His intense pursuit, the whirlwind romance that felt like a fairy tale. How he convinced her to quit her job after they married, saying he made enough for both of them and wanted her home with Lily when she was born, the pregnancy that seemed to accelerate his need for control. The way he monitored her phone, her emails, her friendships. How he gradually isolated her from everyone she knew. "He started small," Rachel said, her voice steady but her hands trembling. "Suggesting my friends were a bad influence. Getting upset when I made plans without telling him first. Then it escalated. He installed tracking software on my phone. Made me share my location at all times. If I was 5 minutes late from the grocery store, he'd call demanding to know where I was and who I was with." Victoria typed rapidly, her expression neutral but her eyes sharp. "Did he ever become physically violent?" Rachel nodded, shame burning her cheeks. "The first time, Lily was about 8 months old. I contradicted something he said at a dinner party, nothing major, just a factual correction about a news story. When we got home, he shoved me against the wall and told me to never embarrass him in public again." "Did you file a police report?" "No. He apologized the next day. Brought me flowers, cried, said he was under so much stress at work and it would never happen again." Rachel's voice was hollow. "It happened again 3 weeks later. Then again. Then it became almost normal." Victoria's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "What made you finally leave?" "He grabbed Lily during an argument. She was 3 years old, playing with her toys while Michael and I were fighting about money. I had asked if I could take a part-time job, and he exploded. He yanked Lily up by her arms so hard she screamed. I saw the terror in her eyes and I knew, if I stayed, she would grow up thinking this was normal. That men who love you hurt you." Rachel wiped her eyes, forcing herself to continue. "I left that night with Lily and 1 suitcase. Stayed at a women's shelter for 2 weeks while I found a job and an apartment. Filed for divorce immediately." "Tell me about the custody arrangement." Rachel explained the initial agreement, joint custody with Lily primarily residing with Rachel during the school year and alternating weekends with Michael. How his lawyer had maneuvered to minimize Michael's child support payments despite his substantial income. "He pays $800 a month," Rachel said bitterly. "His salary is over $400,000 a year, and he convinced the judge that was a fair amount because I chose to leave a comfortable situation." Victoria's expression turned to ice. "We're going to destroy that arrangement. But I need you to document everything. Every cancelled visitation, every violation of the custody order, every manipulative text message. Can you do that?" "I've been keeping records," Rachel said, pulling out her phone. "Every time he cancels, every time he's late dropping her off, every nasty message. I have 6 months' worth." "Good. That's excellent." Victoria made notes. "Now, I need to ask you something important. Nathan Cross is paying your legal fees, which is extremely generous. Is there anything romantic between you two? Anything that could be used to paint you as opportunistic?" Rachel felt heat rise to her face. "I met him 2 days ago. He overheard me crying about Lily and offered to help. That's all. Make sure it stays that way until this case is resolved," Victoria said firmly. "Michael's lawyers will look for any angle to discredit you. A wealthy benefactor could be twisted into something inappropriate if we're not careful." Over the next 2 weeks, Victoria worked with ruthless efficiency. She filed an emergency motion to enforce the custody agreement and began building a case that went far beyond simple visitation disputes. Private investigators were hired. Financial records were subpoenaed. Michael's colleagues were quietly interviewed. Nathan called Rachel every few days to check on her progress. The conversation started professionally but gradually became more personal. "How are you holding up?" he asked during one evening call, his voice warm with genuine concern. "Scared. Hopeful. Exhausted." Rachel curled up on her worn couch, her apartment feeling smaller and lonelier than usual. "Victoria says we have a strong case, but I keep thinking about what happens if we lose." "You won't lose. Victoria doesn't lose." Nathan paused. "I know how terrifying this is, Rachel. When I was fighting for Jeremy, I barely slept. Every day felt like walking through fire. How did you survive it?" "I focused on the moments that mattered. Every supervised visit I got with Jeremy, I made it count. I read to him, played with him, reminded him that I loved him no matter what his mother said. And I trusted my attorney to handle the legal battle while I focused on being the best father I could be in the limited time I had." Rachel felt tears slip down her cheeks. "I haven't seen Lily in 3 weeks. Michael keeps finding excuses to cancel. Last weekend he said she had the flu, but I saw photos on his mother's Facebook. They were at Disney World. Send those photos to Victoria immediately. Every violation, every lie, it all builds the case." Nathan's voice turned gentle. "You're doing everything right, Rachel. Keep fighting. Why do you care so much?" The question slipped out before Rachel could stop it. "You don't even know me." Nathan was quiet for a long moment. "Because when I was fighting for Jeremy, a stranger helped me. A woman I'd never met, who had lost her own children in a custody battle and didn't want anyone else to go through what she did. She gave me the name of the attorney who finally won my case. I swore if I ever had the chance to pay that forward, I would." "Is that the only reason?" Rachel asked softly, another pause, longer this time. "No," Nathan admitted. "I see something in you, a strength, a determination to do right by your daughter. It reminds me of myself 8 years ago. And honestly, Rachel, talking to you has been the highlight of my days lately. You're easy to talk to. You make me laugh even when we're discussing terrible situations." Rachel's breath caught. "Nathan, I know the timing is terrible. I know you're in the middle of a custody battle and the last thing you need is complications. But I wanted you to know that when this is over, I'd like to get to know you better. If you're interested." Her heart hammered against her ribs. "I'd like that too." "But Victoria said." "Victoria is right to be cautious. We keep things professional until Lily is safe. But after that." His voice held a promise that made Rachel's pulse quicken. "After that, we'll see where things go." The breakthrough came on a Tuesday morning in mid-January. Victoria called Rachel at the restaurant during her breakfast shift, her voice tight with controlled excitement. "Can you come to my office right now? We have a situation." Rachel's stomach dropped. "Is Lily okay?" "Lily is fine. But we've discovered something about Michael that changes everything." "How quickly can you get here?" Rachel told her manager there was a family emergency and took the train downtown, her mind racing with possibilities. When she arrived at Victoria's office, she found the attorney pacing, her usual composed demeanor cracking with what looked like fury. "Sit down," Victoria said. "What I'm about to tell you is going to make you very angry." She opened her laptop and turned it toward Rachel. "My investigators have been looking into Michael's finances. He's been very careful about hiding his assets during the divorce, but we found something. Michael has been embezzling from his law firm." Rachel stared at the screen, not comprehending. "What?" Over the past 3 years, he's been creating fake client accounts and billing for work that was never done. The money goes into offshore accounts he controls. We're talking about nearly $2 million. Victoria pulled up spreadsheets, bank statements, damning evidence of systematic theft. Why would he risk that? Rachel whispered. He makes plenty of money legitimately. Because he's maintaining an extremely expensive lifestyle. The house, the cars, the private schools, the country club membership, it all costs far more than his salary covers. And he wanted to look financially superior during custody proceedings. Victoria's eyes blazed. He's been stealing to fund a facade that makes you look unfit by comparison. Rachel felt dizzy. This could send him to prison. Yes. And it completely destroys his credibility as a parent. No judge will grant custody to someone under federal investigation for embezzlement. Victoria leaned forward. But there's more. We also obtained recordings. She pressed play on another file. Michael's voice came through clearly. Lily, what did Mommy's apartment look like? Was it dirty? Did you feel safe there? Lily's small voice, hesitant and confused. It was okay, Daddy. Just okay? Tell me the truth. You can trust Daddy. Was Mommy nice to you or was she mean? Mommy was nice. She made me pancakes and we colored. But didn't she yell at you sometimes? Didn't she forget to give you dinner? No, Daddy. Mommy always. Lily, I need you to be honest. When the judge asks you questions, you need to tell him the truth about how Mommy's house is scary and she's not nice to you. Can you do that for Daddy? Rachel pressed her hand over her mouth, nausea rolling through her. He's coaching her. He's trying to make her lie about me. He's been doing this for months. His ex-secretary felt guilty and came forward with these recordings. She'd been asked to transcribe them for therapy purposes. Victoria's voice was granite. Michael Chen is not just a bad husband. He's a criminal who's using his own daughter as a weapon. Rachel couldn't stop the tears now. How could he do this to her? She's 6 years old. He's teaching her that lying is acceptable, that manipulating people is how you get what you want. Because he's a narcissist who cares more about winning than about Lily's well-being. Victoria closed the laptop. But we have him now, Rachel. Between the embezzlement evidence and these recordings, we have enough to not only win custody but to potentially have his parental rights terminated completely. When do we go to court? I'm filing for an emergency custody hearing today. Given this new evidence, we should have a hearing within 2 weeks. Victoria's expression softened slightly. Rachel, you need to prepare yourself. This is going to get ugly. Michael will realize we have evidence against him, and he's going to fight dirty. He'll try to destroy your character, your reputation, anything he can use. Can you handle that? Rachel thought of Lily, her sweet girl who loved butterflies and strawberries, who still slept with the stuffed rabbit Rachel had given her as a baby. Who had been manipulated and used as a pawn in her father's sick games. I can handle anything if it means bringing Lily home, Rachel said, her voice steady with newfound resolve. Tell me what I need to do.